Uh-oh, is this the mid-Chaos Era Edition bingo book? It most certainly is. We gotta start with Yuna, followed by Kimahri, the Guardian himself, Mr. Defense. Yeah, about Yuna, I'm going to say she wastes way too many turns. I can't stomach it. I'm not doing it again. I refuse. I've already been through this, and wasting turns is her biggest weakness, because if she had free turns on, let's say, Cheer / Asuna, okay, she would be great, but she's wasting too many turns. You know how Chaos is with these turns and wasting skills. You need to be on point, otherwise you're not getting score. You're gonna fail everything. You might put your team in jeopardy. I'm not saying she can't be used. You just gotta be cautious of, you know, her problem, which is, again, wasting turns. It's been solved to an extent with the EX Plus, which allows her to get Valefor at the start of the fight, thankfully. But aside from that, she's just gonna be struggling unless you build around her properly. I would highly recommend good DPS with her, / turn skippers or cheaters or something that benefits off a battery. As for Kimahri, he's very defensive. He doesn't hurt, but he can stop you from getting hurt. Even with his EX starting at the beginning of the fight, it's still not enough for him. So basically the same thing as Yuna. You gotta build around properly, otherwise you're just gonna slow yourself down and you might eventually just drop the character. But for me, for some odd reason, I ended up getting Kimahri. I totally did not want it. I just wanted to get one copy of Yuna because she's very good with the auto farming. Honestly, on JP, that's all I use her for, is just auto farming if I'm being lazy. As for Kimahri, I guess I have to give him a shot because I got the whole kit. Let's get into the Rosa. I've been a believer since day one. An Emperor, Mr. Bomb Voyage himself, setting bombs off of bombs on top of bombs. Literally what I said way back when, before Rosa even got EX Plus on JP, is that nothing beats a dedicated support. And what happens? She gets upgraded. People are hopping on it like, oh wow, Rosa's great. Well, duh, I've been saying that. I've been using her for an eternity. She's got great attack auras, good battery, auto life. I don't condone auto life, but I'm just saying because it's there in case you want to die and come back to life, because clearing chaos is still a thing, even though I recommend completing it. Her first skill does no damage whatsoever, but it has good battery. Skill 2 has great battery and good turn rate. You know how I love my turn rate. Her HP attack batteries the team, which is great. As for the EX, you can now heal the party. And when it's 3-3, basically what happens is you can hit a target and get 50% splash. But in the case of Emperor, oh, this guy, he's dropping bombs and then dropping more bombs on top of bombs. So in English, you can put a bomb on somebody, detonate the bomb, make them blow up. Once their turn hits, they blow up again. Isn't that just crazy? You can blow somebody up after blowing them up and have them blow up 3 different times and then blow up again? Which is kind of the problem. There's too many explosions. What do you do in between? You just hit his sorry excuse for an HP attack. That's what you do. Or you could be smart and run a battery with him so that he doesn't get spent quickly. That's what I would do. Because he's good, but the skill usage, that's the problem. He runs out quickly if you just keep pressing buttons. So I would recommend maybe attacking with HP attacks every now and then, if possible. Or you could just go for the I want to blow somebody up composition and get all the heavy hitters, batteries, turn cheaters, and just blow them up. Because he's not meant to last forever, because skill 2 plus his EX is his bread and butter. So his debuffs take up 3 slots. Also, cannot go for the dude because I have no idea who the global exclusive is gonna be. I think it might be somebody popular, but then again, it's global, so you never know. But what we do know is I'm gonna have him right away. Next up, we got the legendary Yuffie, followed by Sephiroth, who's finally getting EX+. She is getting an EX after like 5,000 years? I mean, excuse me? Golbez is getting EX+. Triple Meteor. Let's get into the Yuffie facts. Yuffie is actually very good. I'm gonna start off with the important stuff. Her EX does something so crazy. Let's take, for example, you're fighting Leviathan. Oh no, he's about to pop Tidal Wave. He's gonna get 75,000 Brave and a gigantic buff. Well, guess what? Her EX negates both of those effects for 2 turns. Yup, she is anti-battery, anti-buff. Plus, it is 100% AoE. The bad part about it is it doesn't do a lot. You're definitely gonna need overflow auras. You're gonna need max brave. You just gotta set up. And it's for a good reason, because what I just said is probably the most oppressive thing you can do in mid-chaos, which is completely shutting down a boss from gaining battery, also putting buffs on. So I'm gonna say I gotta get the Yuffie because, you know, for the culture. Again, shutting down chaos bosses. There aren't that many characters that can do it like she can. But in terms of damage, I'm gonna have to say Sephiroth is 100% up there. I'm talking, this guy caps so easily. Plus, he has massive brave regeneration from his EX buff, which is crazy. I'm talking, you can see in the neighborhood of tens of thousands just by himself. If you combo that with someone like Rosa, oh boy, you're seeing like 20k plus on average. His skill 1 still does a bunch of damage, skill 2, bunch of damage. But doing a bunch of damage is my criticism for him, because that's literally all he does. He doesn't offer anything to the team. But then again, a lot of villains are kind of selfish. Not saying you can't use him on a team, but just be wary that all you're going to be doing with Sephiroth is just flat damage. Which is a good and a bad thing, because there's a lot of chaos bosses out there that have high defense, and he's just like, okay, excuse me, I'm just about to go through your defense like it's nothing because I'm Sephiroth. So if you need like a raw damage dealer, he is the one. But again, just be cautious of him not being much of a team player. I recommend building supports around him, and he can carry a team pretty hard. As for Golbez, I have got to say, I was so surprised to find out that his EX starts at the beginning of the battle. It now turns into Triple Meteor. It easily does 50k a shot. That's times 3. You start the fight with 150k. If somebody else starts in front of you that gives you battery, you can just start with basically a 200,000 meteor. That's busted. On top of getting the meteor off afterwards, you get a free ability, which was the biggest issue. I did say that, right? In the bingo book for the EX era, I was like, Golbez gets spent quickly. Well, this kind of solves the issue. Also, he gets an HP plus, thankfully, so now he can get some in-betweens while his EX is charging, because it still charges very slowly. HP attacks, skills, battery. Just run a support with him and he'll be okay, because the meteor can carry him but so far. Next up, we got Type 0's 8 appearing for the first time ever, followed by the king himself, with the big guns getting EX plus finally. For 8, I'm gonna have to say this guy is so much fun to play. He specializes in counters and evasion. He evades everything. His counter is ridiculous. You press his EX, it's like, okay, some punches and kicks, it's not bad. But that's not really what the EX is about. The EX is about the counters. He counters everything. This is no ordinary counter. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna slap you in the face. I'm gonna punish you for hitting me. No, you're about to get beat down. This is a back alley beatdown. So the level of damage output we're talking is in the neighborhood of 50k plus. That might actually be an understatement depending on a few factors such as the arts and how much brave you have beforehand. But overall, it does a lot, and you barely have to do anything when playing him, which is great. Let's see, King on the other hand, he is a turn rate god. He also gets break into going again mechanics, which is excellent. That's exactly what he needed. That's how good his EX is. His EX looks like an off-duty cop trying to shoot somebody down, not trying to be disrespectful, but it doesn't look that great. I mean, it's okay on the appearance side, but the damage, ooh, that's the important part. It hits HP twice. Also, once you break a target after casting that EX, you're going again, like I just said, which means high turn rate on skill rapid bullets means you get to go again. Then you break the opponent and you go again. He just keeps shooting. He can finally fulfill his purpose, which is to just keep shooting. He doesn't feel awkward anymore, so you don't have to conserve bullets and use HP attacks and stuff. But still, again, I would recommend bringing a battery with him. Overflow auras, attack auras, because that's what's gonna make him hit like a truck, because he already hits hard to begin with. Towards the middle of mid-chaos, we got Mr. All Supports rolled into one, followed by Zack, who's getting EX plus finally, the underrated Gao, and the champion, one of the champions of chaos, Yuri himself. Zack is so good. I cannot stress this enough. If you don't have a tank, get this one right here. You won't need any other ones. Before I was saying the tanks serve different purposes, but in mid-chaos, this is the only one that I used because he has high damage output. He never gets hurt unless you just use a straight HP attack. If you do any type of brave, you're not getting through that shield, I guarantee you. That shield is so stacked to the point of no return. Straight zeros every single time. I think Ifrit was the only one that was able to break the shield. And that was because I didn't have enough eye brave auras, because that's how it functions. So once I put Rosa on the team, it was back to him hitting zeros. On top of that, he's got the solid rotations. The EX charges fast enough already. So by the time you pop it, that's a clean 100 plus K, nearly every single time. I recommend running this guy with overflow auras. You run him with overflow auras, you're not going to be disappointed. I'm telling you. His EX is going to hit so hard, especially when you have to hit 2 targets. Oh my god. Cleaned out. Zack is the one. Probably the best tank for mid-chaos in general. As for the underrated Gao, oh, the Gao inflicts the ow, especially against 3 targets. His EX potency is ridiculous. I'm confused as to why so many people skipped him. I skipped him because I was broke, but if I had the gems, I would have got him. Because I saw firsthand what he can actually do. Like 8, he does have a counter, except he counters for the entire team. And also, when he uses one of his skills, he gets locked into it. You know, because lore purposes. He also does a boatload of damage when he presses his abilities. Can't really say the same for the counter, it's on the weak side. But don't worry, that's what the EX is for. His weakness is, again, being locked into an ability and also having to output that EX which is only truly good against multiple targets. He can also put you in a very bad position if he counters and breaks somebody, and then he's at 0 brave, and he gets hit with a brave HP and gets killed. Yeah, it's kind of a rough time with him. I call him a double-edged sword because he really is. If you set up properly, you should not have these issues. Just be cautious that they do exist. Once again, same recommendations. Battery, overflow, that's all you need. Overflow limit up is the key to mid-chaos. You also need to start stacking auras. Stacking auras is how you play chaos. I like overflow auras, I like battery, I like attack auras. I don't really do too much of defense, because if we need defense, I'll just go for someone that specializes in it, or just pop like protect or something. I'm gonna give him a good rating. Definitely gonna try to go for him if I have the gems. He's pretty solid, you just gotta give him a chance. He's not good in every situation, but in some. Speaking of situations, Yuri is busted when he gets this EX+. My words were endless about Yuri. I'm not joking. Never before have I recorded a Heretics outside of co-op. This was the first time that I did it. I was that excited. He soloed Heretics Cosmos like it was nothing. The thing about Yuri is he's got the 2 skills, obviously, that, you know, we hate because he had to have that stupid buff on to not lose half his life. That's completely changed. He's good now. He is good. EX plus, starting with the buffs, no problems. Also, once Chalinka gets on the field, which is his sister, that just pops up after his EX, massive brave recovery, massive healing. His EX plus attack is his charged attack from the game, which is Ring of Fates, obviously, Crystal Chronicle Gang, which does way too much damage. There hasn't been a single thing I could not shave with that EX. He is legendary. I repeat, legendary. Do not sleep on him. Here comes a blast from the past. We got Jack returning with EX plus during Lulu's Lost Chapter, who is also going to be getting EX plus. She's finally graduating. No longer a 35 CP legend, but now an imperil legend. Jack starts on the first turn with his EX, which is glorious. Once he gets a break, he goes again, which is amazing because he needed that momentum to get started. The biggest problem was wasting skills in order to get his EX buff. The EX buff is what makes him the massive regen. He needs it so incredibly bad. I'm gonna say this is 100% honest. He's okay. He's not the greatest. But for mid-chaos, he should be able to deal with the majority of things. Once we get to late chaos, definitely late chaos, he's not going to be hitting anything. This is coming from a Jekt with like 3 spheres and actually decent arts. The Jekt slash just does not do a lot. That's the problem. During mid-chaos, it may look great, especially if you put him with like batteries and imperilers. Later on, that's not really going to be the case. I think the biggest problem is just, it doesn't do a lot. So again, batteries can save him. Later on, it's not going to save him. As for Lulu, thankfully, her EX is so good. It hits 5 different times. The negative part about it is it's really hard to cap on the damage output. It does 29.9 per hit. That's times 5. So that's a lot of damage if you can get that high. I've seen Lulus with perfect arts and everything set up, and it's still difficult to reach that cap. So possibly something like some overflow auras, again, attack auras, definitely attack auras. Charlotta support, something. Just set up properly and you can pull it off. But thankfully for Jekt, he has C65, which gives him 3 extra Jekt slashes. Moments like that with Lulu, you're like, okay, she popped the EX, what do I do next? She didn't cap? Can I do something? Possibly. You can keep attacking because you don't get spent as quickly. Be sure to have at least 50+% of your Brave when going for a Jekt slash. I'm gonna recommend personally. After that, you should not have any issues. Same thing with Lulu popping her EX. You just gotta be prepared and set up beforehand and you should be okay. This Cam guy, the FF11 villain person, he's kind of strange. He's not like your average villain who just does a bunch of damage. In fact, he doesn't do a lot. He's more built for team auras. He's got really good ones, to be honest. He boosts a bunch of your stats. His first skill has a chance to paralyze. His EX is good with damage. His skill 2 is good with damage. It's not up there, but it's good enough to be used. He's kind of the oddball out because not that many people used him. He was a dead-on release character from what I remember personally. I know a few people that have him, but I can count those on my finger. That's how dead it was. But he's really good for auras if that's the thing you're looking for. The end of mid-chaos. Penelo getting EX. Clavat Boy getting EX. He's okay, but suffers from stacks. Vayne getting EX+. That is broken. Beatrix, very strong. Of course Steiner's gonna be there with her. Totally underrated, by the way. But I believe in you. That's what matters. Goliath, old man, getting EX. General Leo. Ooh, this guy. Penelo's EX shaves based on her initial Brave, so in English, get initial Brave arts. She will shave the opponent down to 0 every single time. If you use haste, you can then attack with a Brave HP. If you use the regen, you're just gonna attack and battery the team, but it doesn't do any type of Brave damage. This guy, he suffers from a terrible stacking mechanic. You see the chalice above his head? He needs a certain amount of drops in order to trigger his abilities to be good. That's the bad part. The good part is when you do trigger it, they're pretty good. So again, about the pacing, that's gonna be kinda rough with him. But once you get the stacks and what you need, he's pretty good. Just not for me, cause I don't want to deal with that. As much as I love Crystal Chronicles, I can't do it. Gonna have to give you a pass, buddy. Vayne Solidor is completely busted still. With EX+, it got way worse because now he has re-break on his EX, which is excellent. And he also starts with more stacks. So he does not have to waste time, wasting abilities and whatnot. Not that it would matter because, again, it's Vayne. He gets his skills back from his EX. Definitely would recommend this. He is still legendary to this day. Yes, Beatrix finally pops up at the end of mid-chaos, for a good reason. Her Thunder Slash does AoE Brave damage, then all of that gets channeled into HP damage for the one that you're actually targeting. Plus the potency is now incredibly high. Once you use Saint's Cloth, here's the good part. She does an HP attack afterwards. Isn't it just amazing? No longer wasting turns. The HP++ is not bad anymore. It's actually pretty good. On to the EX. The EX now hits damage twice, which is excellent. Also, get this part, pay attention. Once she pops it, for one turn, nobody in the party takes any type of damage. As for Steiner, he has really good attack down on skill 1 and batteries before all of his abilities, including the EX. Goliath now has an EX he can attack with and dodges everything, physical and magic. General Leo's debuff increases brave damage taken by single target attacks. Also, he has battery for the team, he's got healing, he is the delay king, the most used support in late mid chaos and also in late chaos. He is that destructive. I recommend that nobody skip him unless you just don't care about everything I just listed. He is a force to be reckoned with. You don't want to miss out. That's it for mid chaos until all the busted stuff comes with chaos solos and whatnot. But I wonder what Global's gonna say about the next powerful character to pop up. I couldn't even imagine what it could be.